Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we're going to be talking about 5 mistakes that I want you to avoid in the coming months with the new raid on the horizon, with the Mandalore bonus zone, Cal Kestis coming back and eventually hitting that journey guide, and obviously with these Lightspeed bundles, as I said in another video, there's a lot going on and I think there's more to come, so I want to give you some mistakes to avoid going into all these things, because I think right now, as I move my chair down a little bit, right now is the time to be thinking about this stuff. When it's already happening, you're already reacting too late. So please go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this. Let me know your thoughts. Again, channel memberships are always in the description down below. You guys can go check those out if you're ever interested. Let's give a massive shout to our Wampa and Jedi Master tier members for their continued support. If you're ever interested, like I said, that link is down below, along with a link to the Discord, which I think is one of the best Discords around. I'm a little bit biased though. And of course, we've got to thank those who are on the council. You may not yet be granted the rank of Master, but you're granted a very special place in my heart, and I very much appreciate you guys. Hopefully, the content I'm giving you guys is good. It's thought-provoking, it's making you a better player, and I love seeing your success stories of getting Galactic Legends, beating missions, and doing well in Grand Arena. I love seeing it, guys. So, let's get into our introduction, and let's talk about these mistakes to avoid. Alright, guys, so, mistake number 1 that I want you to avoid right now is don't be Chelsea, right? If you don't know anything about soccer, we'll get there in a second, but don't be like Chelsea. Don't just go and gear up the characters that are amazing, that we say are amazing, just because they're good, right? Dark Trooper Moff Gideon, Queen Amidala, Terran Malicos. Yes, they're all very good characters. Now, Queen Amidala we don't know the full impact of yet, but you'll get where I'm going with this. But they also need a team around them. Like, Malicos is not just good because he's Malicos. Malicos is good because he's combined with Kylo or Seer, or you're using him in some interesting way with Lord Vader, that there's certain things that he kind of need to check the box. He needs a team around him. You can't just take him out of one team, put him into yours, and hope that they're going to do well. Same thing with Dark Trooper Moff Gideon. He's a fantastic character, but unless you have the ability to take advantage of him, he loses a lot of the best benefits of his kit, right? Which is the leader of Imperial Remnants. So, and I want you to think about this particularly with Queen Amidala coming. We know that Master Qui-Gon and Padawan Space Jesus are going to be in her team, but we don't know about the rest of the team, right? We don't know. I'm going to advise you to wait for Arnold's testing and even a GAC cycle or two. If you're not sure, wait a little bit and then invest in her once you see her impact. Because if she's like one of these characters where you just need the team, right? You need the team for her to get the best value out of it, for you to get the best value out of her, probably not a great investment for a lot of players then. If she requires very specific Galactic Republic characters, then I think you probably want to, hold off. If she's a great plug and play with Galactic Republic, she fits in a lot of different scenarios and situations, then yeah, you know what? Maybe she is worth, gearing up. So I'm going to advise you to be patient on her, but just don't gear her simply because she's a conquest character. Like, make sure that you have the resources to be able to fully utilize her. Alright, next is Gungans, and don't rush in with your gear, right? Don't rush in gearing, don't rush in putting Zetas, Omicrons, whatever it is. One of the biggest things that they said is, hey, Gungans are going to be needed in the upcoming Galactic Challenges. What I am waiting to see is what they actually mean by that phrase. Because here's the way to think about it, right? When they say that, are they going to be like the Inquisitors, where it's, hey, win with a full team of Inquisitors? Because if that's the case, right, we don't have a full team of Gungans until you even unlock Jar Jar. So any gear you invest into these guys, if they're requiring a full team to complete that Galactic Challenge, then there's no way to get it without Jar Jar, and that's the biggest bucket, right? Like, that is the biggest individual bucket. So I don't want you to have your Gungans at gear 11 fully Zeted out, ready to go, Omicron on Gungan phalanx, and you don't even really get to take advantage of them in these Galactic Challenges because you need a full squad of Gungans. Just let that sink in, that could potentially be on the horizon. The only thing I'm wondering is, are they going to get the Mandalorian treatment where it's win with, 4 Gungans? Win with at least like 4 Gungans in your team. That used to be the Mandalorian one they'd go to, where it's like, hey, win with 4 Mandalorians, in your squad. If that's the case, then maybe we've got some, potential here. But otherwise, I just say don't rush into these characters. Now, General Skywalker, with this Lightspeed bundle coming, I'm going to advise you, if you're not ready to invest in the entirety of the 501st, don't. And this is a harsh turn from where we were with the other Lightspeed bundles, where I said, hey, if you got Rey or the Kylo bundle or the Rebel bundle, like, you need to do XYZ things and take full advantage of that. With this General Skywalker one, I'm going to tell you that I don't know that that's the best decision. The big reason why is because General Skywalker's a very Zeta intensive farm. Not just for completing the event, but even the 501st itself, these guys take more Zetas than the Gungan team does. Because your 5s, Rex, Echo, and ARC Trooper all are equivalent to these characters, right? Boss and Ass and 5s both need 2. Everybody else just needs a single Zeta. Jar Jar only needs 3. General Skywalker needs 4. Now, Kyra Tech-wise, obviously very different. Much less Kyra Tech needed here. General Skywalker needs a lot himself, but as a whole, there's far less Kyra Tech here than there is up here. But how many of you are in that spot where Kyra Tech isn't as big of a problem, but Zetas are? So not only do you need all the Zetas for these guys, but even the Zetas to unlock them. Think of Padme, think of the, Separatist droids. There's some Zetas you do need in order to get through those events. So don't feel this need that if you're not ready to invest entirely into General Skywalker, don't feel like you need to, right? I'm going to tell you that I think that is okay to kind of get that bundle and let it sit and stew for a while until you're ready for that next step, right? I truly believe that. You let me know in the comments if you don't agree with that, but I think that's a really good example where with Rey and Kylo, they got you the majority of the way there. With that General Skywalker bundle, it's not getting you as close as you think, because you still need to get Padme and C-3PO, which fine, but General Skywalker doesn't go in with any of the characters that you use to unlock him. He needs the 501st, whereas Rey and Kylo are both very good with Resistance and First Order characters, so, you're getting, your GL, and then you're done, right? Like, it's not like you need, Ben Solo helps, and, Rey, I get it, but it's not like you need to go build 4 other characters for Kylo and Rey once you unlock them. For General Skywalker, you have to. Now, you could just use him as a Jedi, and that's fine, but you're missing a lot, right? Like, I 1000% will tell you you're missing a lot if you do that. All right, everyone. Sorry for the brief interruption. Wife opened up the door, dog freaked out, so we just had to pause, and we'll, splice this together here. So, a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. And this is kind of a classic mantra, and I wanted to apply it to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, kind of looking at Zepho versus Mandalore, where I think a lot of guilds are getting closer to Zepho because it's been something that we've been kind of telling you to work on. Jedi Knight Cal Kestis, and his event is actually coming back soon, so a really good opportunity to kind of finish that off. Then we just got the news on Mandalore, which has far better rewards than Zepho, right? You marry them up pound for pound, and it is way better to get rewards out of Mandalore than Zepho. It's not close. However, the investment to Zepho, I would say, is less. I think relic-wise, obviously way more to get ready for Bo-Katan than it is Cal Kestis, since, Jedi Knight Cal does not take relic levels, just gear 12. I think Kyra Tech is pretty similar because Bo's 4 characters, Cal is 5, but we don't need them all at relic levels. The reason why I'd say you'd still want to go for Zepho, right, that the bird in the hand is better, go for Zepho first, is because realistically, Cal's a Relic 7 character already. Like, that should be a no-brainer for you. So then you have a Gear 12 Seer left over after the Jedi Cal event. It's 100 more Kyra Tech to get her to Relic levels, and then obviously a Relic 7, which is not that bad anymore. I'm sorry, hot take, Relic 7 isn't that bad. So, in that regard, taking her to Relic 7 requires 100 more Kyra Tech, which, if your guild gets Zepho and, gets the rewards and everything, it's about a month. That's a month of Zepho rewards that went into Seer, and then you're in the green, and you're going to start getting a return on what you spent to get there, pretending that you're going to spend Cal's stuff no matter what. If you just went straight into Mandalore, you're missing out on all these months that you'd be getting these extra rewards from Zepho. And you're going to say, oh, well, I don't need to invest in Cal. Yes, you do. Cal is a fantastic character. So I want you that if your guild isn't ready for Zepho yet, get to Zepho and then work on Mandalore. And if your guild is already at Zepho, getting those rewards, start getting towards Mandalore. Go for those rewards. They're going to be extremely important. I think the big thing with Mandalore that I'm looking at from the Kyrotech perspective is that it's 100 Kyrotech every single TB, right? Every single territory battles. And that's not including any of the guild event currency that you're going to earn along the way to get there through the special mission. So 100 extra Kyrotech, that's 200 per month. All of a sudden, Bo-Katan's Kyrotech to get her is over and done with. After a year of TB, that will have returned all the Kyrotech you spent plus a little bit. I think, at least on her Rex, not on her yet. So I think that it's a very important thing, and I think Zepho, along those same lines, is also extremely important. So, again, I think you still need to focus Zepho. I don't want you to get blinded and going straight into Mandalore. You got to get Zepho first, and then I think you make Mandalore a priority. I spent a lot on that, but I think it is important that I mention that. All right, next and final point here. Don't halt your current progress on any of the Lightspeed bundles that you're trying to do now. So if you're still in the process of getting Kylo or Rey, or working on Captain Rex to go with your Phoenix team, or working on Zori Bliss to go with your Resistance, don't halt it because of this new stuff. Finish this stuff off. Finish your farms, as Nooch has so proudly screamed, as I have said many a times. Like, you cannot afford to halt your progress at this point. And the reason for it, in my personal opinion, is because you've got to remember, eventually this raid is going to cease to exist. Not cease to exist, but it's not, this raid will no longer be the new Prime raid. It's going to go the way of the Crate raid or the Speeder Bike raid, where it's not the one that you're going to get the rewards from. So my argument against stuff like this is that it's going to be better for your account in the long run to stay focused on these things, get it, and then naturally kind of move into working on the next parts as you complete these things, because Galactic Legends still hold their value so well. I really think it's extremely important, and I want you to avoid some of those situations that I'm in where, like, if we go to my Rogue One, for example, like, I don't have a complete Rogue One team. I can't use Datacrons here, right? Like, I can't use Datacrons with this team unless it's in 3v3, and it's not a very good 3v3 team because there's no tank. Like, use me as a warning guide that by not finishing farms like this one, or even if you go up to some of my Jedi, and we look at guys like Jolee and Barriss Offee, where I just have never got around to gearing them, and at times it does, hurt me. It does, end up making me regret some of the decisions that I've made. What I want you to just kind of think about, put in the back of your head, all that kind of stuff, is just think through all the decisions you're going to make, and don't halt that process. Just finish it off while you're thinking of it, and then you can move on to focusing on some of the newer things. I promise you, you're going to want this stuff. It's going to pay dividends in your Grand Arena, Conquest, other game modes like that. So all in all, guys, to quickly recap the mistakes I don't want you making. Number one, don't be like Chelsea. Don't just gear up the best characters simply because they're the best. Make sure you have the means to use them. If you don't have Imperial Remnants or the Galactic Republic characters that Queen Amidala needs, or the unaligned Force users to really get, the best out of Malicos, save the gear, put it into something that's actually going to benefit your account. It is, I feel that is one of the biggest things you can do, is just put it into stuff that's actually going to net you a return. Next, don't just rush into Gungans and start gearing them, Zetas, Omicrons, all that kind of stuff. Wait to see what the Galactic challenges look like. Wait to see, I'd almost argue that you almost wait to see, is Jar Jar going to be a monthly thing, or is he going to be like every other ridiculous journey guide character? What kind of stuff? Don't just rush into gearing them. I think farming them, getting their shards, absolutely. But don't go rushing into gearing Zetas, Omicrons until we know the full picture and the full extent of what's required from them. Obviously with General Skywalker, particularly him, if you're not ready, don't feel like you need to start this farm after you get the Lightspeed bundle. Which I know is, again, like I said, it's a complete 180 from what I told you with the other bundles, where I said, hey, go grab them. With this one, if you're not ready, don't feel like you need to do it, because it is an insane investment. It's a lot of extra work. Hey, bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Go and get Cal and Seer. Get to Zepho before you get to Mandalore. You're going to do a lot better for your guild. I think it also, the other thing with this, and I didn't get to cover this in this section, think about it this way too. So if you're still watching, get the bonus here. Like, Mandalore is a phase 4. So bare minimum, the fastest you can get to Mandalore is on day 4 of territory battles. you can get to Zepho day 2. So you have a lot more time to preload Zepho to be able to max out the rewards there. Whereas Mandalore, it's a much shorter time frame. Obviously, the requirements there are a lot tougher too, but we won't get into all that. Like, just from a raw GP perspective, you have a lot more time to preload Zepho than you do Mandalore. So if your guild is somewhere where it's like, oh yeah, we could get to Mandalore, but it's day 6, and now all of your resources have to go there to maybe get that star, just think through all of that, because it can, it will be a big factor. And then finally, of course, like, don't halt your current process. If you are close to getting something like this, just keep working towards getting it. I promise you that these things pay dividends down the line. It may not look like it in the moment, but I promise you, looking back, you'll say that was a great decision of finishing my farms and then moving to the next thing. So that's the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts. Again, like, subscribe, comment. I love you all. May the force be with you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.